Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Lead Her podcast. I have just completed my level 1 Portuguese class, my language class. So actually, I do lie, I've got one more class on Tuesday to find our results for my exam, which I'm a little bit nervous for, but that's going to be our last class on Tuesday for 3 weeks until we start our level 2. And it's really funny because I was saying to Joe, I can't believe how quick that time has passed and how when I first found the course, because we got here like in March, like you guys know, it was crazy just getting our visa stuff sorted. It was crazy getting stuff from an unfurnished house and trying to like buy all our stuff for it when we arrived. It was chaotic. It was crazy. So it wasn't until like we got to May and I was like, right, I said I wanted to come here and pick up some hobbies. I wanted to learn a language. I wanted to play padel, and I haven't done any of that in 2 months. So I sat down in May and I was like, right, okay, let's have a wee look at what's kind of around. And straight away, this Portuguese class comes up. And it's really funny now, isn't it, when you kind of sometimes look back and you think some things are just fate, because I could have like not looked up that yet. I could have waited off another month. I know Joe wasn't ready to start studying Portuguese, and I could have just been waiting for him, for us to kind of do it together. I don't know, but it's just so funny because I remember looking at this class and thinking, oh, I don't know if I can commit to that. It was in my head, for some reason, I was like, right, let's research it. There'll maybe be something in summer we can join, and it's one night a week and we can go for a wee hour or 2 hours and meet some new people. And when I found this one online, I was like, oh, like it's only like a 10-minute cycle. Fantastic. And then I was like, oh, it's 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday, 2 hours each class. And I was like, that's a big commitment. And it was for like 50 hours. So it was over like the space of like 3 months. And I was like, oh my God, that's ages. And I kind of looked at our diary and I was like, oh, is this something I can do? We've got people coming to visit. It's going to be summer. There's going to be other stuff we want to do and we want to see. And like, this feels like a big commitment alongside work. And I just found myself making all these excuses. I remember messaging my mum, messaged like my best friend, and I was like, oh, I found this course. Like, what do you think? And they both straight away were like, Leanne, you're going to do it anyway. Like, why are you even asking us? It's silly not to do it. And I said to Joe, but I knew straight away, I was like, Joe, can't commit to this. So if I'm doing it, I'm doing it myself. And and I had to, because it was such a shock that I thought it was going to be just 1 hour a week. When I seen like the 4, I was like, oh, I need a few days to think about this. But it actually started in a week's time or 2 weeks' time. And I put down my interest to the class and straight away they phoned me. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to answer that. It's too quick to make a decision. I don't want to commit to anything just yet. And I took a couple of days until I really kind of gone, right, fuck it, let's do it. Because I kind of thought, even if the next one wasn't until maybe September, October, and I kind of thought, well, that's all summer. And then, do you know what? I'm going to be busy in October, November, December anyway. Like, there's actually never going to be the perfect time to do this. And I know, like, I always like to say I practice what I preach. Like, I'm never going to push people to do stuff if I've not kind of done it myself, apart from like a marathon. We've had some people do marathons and I've not been able to complete it, but I've done half the training until I get injured. But it's one thing that I just don't really like doing. I like to go through the experience and really learn it and understand all the emotions that come with doing something before I'm like, right, let's be able to help people with this. So yeah, I like to kind of follow the Lead Her way and practice as I preach, basically. And I knew in my head that if one of our Lead Her members was saying to me about doing this, I would be like, absolutely, do it, because you'll make time for it. You'll find the time for it. There's never going to be the perfect time to do something. And either way, the time's going to pass either way. And you're going to pick up something at least from this class. And I think sometimes, like we always say, we need to commit something and we want to see an outcome from it. We want to see either money from it. We want to see a progress in career. We want to see just that you get something when you're putting something into it. And I kind of said as well, I was like, me learning something once a week compared to me doing something like for twice a week for more hours, you're going to pick up so much more and learn so much more compared to one session a week. And that's not to say that if you're just doing one workout a week, it doesn't count. It absolutely does. But if you could push that to 2, you're doubling your chances of getting more progress, more change, and learning more and doing more. And the more you do something, the better you get at it as well. So I was like, all these messages were in my head, and then speaking to my mum and my friend, I was like, I'm going to do it. I know I am. And Joe was like, you can totally do it, alongside kind of work and everything else that we've got coming on with visitors and stuff. And it tied in nicely with me like cycling to the gym, do my gym, and then I'd cycle straight to class, and then I'd be there, come home, have breakfast, and then crack on work for the afternoon, evening. So I was like, okay, we can maybe make this work. So I signed up, and when I messaged them, they were like, there's only 5 spots left. So if you want to sign up, you need to do it this weekend. So I was like, right, okay, I'll sign up, get it done. And I remember going along to the first class, and I don't know if I was nervous. I didn't feel nervous, but it just felt a little bit like, you're investing your time here, you're investing your money into this. And I just had that fear that I was going to spend money on this course and then not do it, or get too busy and end up just papping it off. And I was like, and I was like, no, you won't do that. We won't let that happen. We'll just try our best and do what we can. I remember turning up to the class, and straight away everybody was lovely, really, really nice. But you know what it's like, you don't know people, you're just going on that first instinct of like what you think they're like. And I automatically came home that night and I had a little cry. Just because like I felt like it's a beginner's class, so I was like, surely this is all going to be people that don't have a clue about Portuguese. But turning up into the class, everybody knew how to say, how are you? Everybody knew how to say your name. Everybody knew how to say where they were from. Because everybody in the class, once we had the break, I was like, oh, how long have you been living here? Or and everybody had been here for like 2 years, 6 months, 3 years. And it was just a bit like, oh, okay, so they've been learning just like from online stuff or other courses, and then now they're doing these courses, and these courses are designed so that you can maybe get a visa. If you want to become a citizen here, you need to be able to speak level 3 language. Now, I'm just doing it for general fun and general awareness. I just hate like going to the supermarket and just like speaking away in English right away. I want to be able to communicate and be like, oh, good morning, how are you? And just be able to understand like things that they're asking me, rather than just standing there in complete silence. It's just not me. I didn't want to have that barrier to communication living in a different country. So I was like, right, I want to just know like some basics like of being asked questions and just knowing stuff. So that's why I really wanted to do it. But other people were doing it there's one person that is a chef, and she wants to open up her own business here, and she knows all her chefs will be Portuguese, so she knows it's important to be able to speak the language. There are also locals coming in. There was someone there that wanted to learn Portuguese because he needed it for his gun license. There was people just like me that just want to learn it. There's people that were there that were doing it for their job or doing it for the visa. So they'd all been kind of doing little bits and bobs, and I felt like the stupid person in the class, and I just felt so daft, so silly, and just a little bit like, I'm so behind on this class already, and how do people know all this stuff? Like, what have I done? Like, I've signed up to this course, it's going to be so hard. I know less than everybody else. And that was like my first feelings coming away from the class. Yes, everybody was lovely, the teacher was so nice, we got a lovely textbook and everything like that. It was really, really cool. But I just kind of come away feeling a wee bit deflated from my first class. And I know, again, like the excuses could have held me back from signing up to the course. Now the first class really dented my confidence, and I had to speak, and I was like, I don't even know how to speak Portuguese. I had to speak it out loud. I didn't even know what I was saying. I felt like an absolute dunce. I felt so stupid, so silly. So I was kind of sat there like, what am I doing? But you know, that way when you just commit to something, this is the same with like coaching that I do. Sometimes when you commit to something, you can't just pap it off and go and disappear and not do it and not follow through with it. You kind of know that deep down, you're like, right, I just need to keep showing up and make the most of me kind of signing up to this. So went to my next class and I turned up, and everybody was all sat together, and they were like, oh, go get a wee coffee. So I went to get a coffee, and it was 80 cents. 80 cents for a coffee. I was like, wow, this is amazing. So sat down after the gym, sat down chatting to everybody, had my little 80 cents coffee, which tastes incredible and amazing. And it just started to become like the highlight of my Tuesday and Thursday. Was like, I would go to class, I'd gym, then go to class, I'd have my wee coffee, I'd have a wee chat with everybody. It was just a lovely way to start the day. And I started to like really find that these people were like just so helpful. Like, when Lola was going through her surgery, they were like, oh, we can pick her up, like we can do anything to help. And if I didn't go to the class, then we wouldn't have that kind of help around here. And they'd help us like know what dentist to go to, where to get a massage, like good restaurants to go to. I was just getting all this information and soaking in all this information from these people, but also really noticing that like they're all much older than me and they're still learning a new language and they're still struggling. And that first class made me feel like really silly and stupid, but straight away they were like, no, you're just starting, you're absolutely fine, you're doing amazing. Like they were like, we've came here for 20 years. And I didn't know that. I just thought, oh, they've lived here for 2 years, but they've been coming every summer for like 15, 16 years. Of course they're going to know so much more than we do. So it made me kind of go, oh, okay, I need to be a wee bit kinder to myself. And listen, there were some weeks when I went to class and I felt like, oh, I got this, I totally understand it, I feel like I'm on it, I know what I'm doing. And then there's other days at classes where it would just be like straight over my head. I'd have no clue what I was doing and I'm like, what am I doing? This is so hard. Why have I signed up to this? And then I realised everybody in class had the same, like my partner Colin, who is amazing, I love him. We literally just stays down the road. And me and Colin just have a giggle during our class. And sometimes I can tell he's like struggling and having an off day. Maybe he had a few drinks the night before or he had a busy day, and I'd help him a little bit. And then there's other days when I'm just like not with it and he's been able to kind of help me. So it's been amazing to like meet those people. And I know if I didn't sign up to that class and I listened to all these excuses and I let that first class hold me back, I wouldn't have got to know these people. And I feel like it's so funny how the world brings you together. And I feel like I've known them for years and they're just so easy to chat to. And I actually took Joe out for dinner with them on Thursday there, now that we're finishing up the class. We've done our exam. They were like, oh, let's meet Joe because they've not met him yet. And I'm like, they're going to think he's completely made up. So we took Joe to dinner with them all. And yeah, it was just so nice to be like, for him. But I was laughing because he was like, oh, Leanne told me this, Leanne told me that, Leanne told me you got this, Leanne. And I was like, oh my God, they're all going to think all I do is talk about them. But I do when I come home, and it's so nice because me and Joe are used to like training at home, in the gym, working from home in the gym. We'd walk the dog, we'd do nothing. We wouldn't really see many people during the week, and we loved that lifestyle, don't get me wrong. But eventually I think like we needed this change, we needed this this transition in life to like meet new people and do different things and be closer to town, and to like, yeah, just have more things to do. And it's so nice to come home and be able to have a conversation about our days and how our days have went, because I've been going out meeting people and I can talk about stuff, compared to us just being in the house having nothing to talk about apart from work. And I think that's been a really good thing for me as well, is because I've just spent like the last 10 years just focusing on my career, my training, and Lola. Like that's it, which sounds very selfish, but I love it and it's my baby. I love my business. But I think it's been so nice for me to move away and do something that is completely, like I said earlier, like I'm not going to earn money from this. It's not going to develop my career that I know of. I'm not like gaining something for this. I'm doing it for fun. And I don't think we do enough stuff for fun. And like we do it all the time when we're younger. We let our kids do gymnastics for a couple of weeks. We let our kids do swimming classes. We let them do football. Like we'll do anything for other people to try stuff. And when you're younger, you dip your fingers in so many different pies, or your foot, I don't know. But yeah, you've got your fingers in so many different pies, trying different things and just doing it for fun. And when you're an adult, it's like you only do it if you're getting an outcome from it. And it's like, why don't you just do the wreath class? Why don't you just go to the flower arrangement class? Why don't you go to that art class? Why don't you go to that? My mum's friend is like in her 80s and she's just joined a choir and she absolutely loves it. And she's starting to like do her hair nicer, wear her makeup, dress nicer. She's got more energy. And like you don't even realize like singing and how good that is for your lungs and your heart and like energy than her sat at home with her dogs by herself. Like it's just like we need to like sometimes get out of that funk of like not doing stuff and thinking we're too busy, and we're just busy being busy and working and looking after everybody else, rather than just having a wee hobby for yourself. Like I just think it's so good for the soul and so nice to just do something for fun rather than having to be an outcome from it. And of course I have definitely, and I was going to do this podcast like after I'd done like level 1 and got my result, and fingers crossed I've passed. But it's just been like, you can just tell all the stuff that has happened without me even having the grade. It's been amazing, and that's the journey. And I think sometimes like if you're starting a business or learning a new hobby or losing weight or building muscle or working up to a big competition like High Rocks, like you always think like at the end, like when you do that marathon and you get that medal, or you do High Rocks and you get your medal, or when you finish that project that you're working on, you'll be happy. but actually it's all the memories, all the people, all the things that you do, all the embarrassment, that first class and crying and feeling like a failure, to looking at me now. And I even just feel like I can go now to the shops and have like, be like, how are you? Yes, I'm good, and just say goodbye, and just have general chat now with comfort. And I feel like much more like relaxed and like getting the lingo a lot more. I can hear stuff in tannoids. I can last night we went to a medieval thing with my friend Laura and Ryan, who lives here, and Laura's Portuguese. And she asked the lady one more question. And I was like, I know that from my class. I was like, I know what she just said. I maybe couldn't say it off the top of my head, but there's so much that I have learned and I've taken in, and I'm not perfect, and I'm maybe not at the level where I want to be. Even for our exam, we could open our textbook, and I open my textbook quite a lot. If I didn't have that textbook, I think I would have definitely failed. And that's going to be embarrassing on Tuesday when I share if I passed or failed, because you guys are going to know that I had my textbook beside me. And if I still fail with having that textbook there, that shows you how crap I am. But honestly, Leanne from day one to now would be so proud of herself for showing up and doing it, for meeting new people, for getting out of her comfort zone when she just felt stupid and felt rubbish at something, that she was never going to get good at something, and how much she really knows now. And like I said earlier, I've had so many classes that I felt uncomfortable and really struggled. Like they've even made us sit there and speak out loud. There's been times there where I had to write about my day, like when I get up in the morning, when I get dressed, what I do after that, what I do for lunch, what I do after that, what I do in the evening. I had to write out this big paragraph, and she made every single person in the class read it out loud. And some people in my class, there's people in my class that are German. So they're learning Portuguese and English, their second language. How nuts is that? And they're so good because it's very kind of nasally and quite mumbly and very mush. And they're so good at nailing that accent. Whereas for me, it's like one letter at a time. And see, even when I'm reading it out loud, it makes no sense. But in my head, when I'm reading it, I'm so much better at reading and maybe listening, but reading out loud, it just seems to go mumbo jumbo. But yeah, like I would be so proud of myself for even just having to speak out in front of loads of people, because that's not something I get to do often as well, and trying to do it in a different language. And from being uncomfortable, that's the only good way we get good at things. It really is. And everybody in class a couple of weeks ago were like, Leanne, are you going to do level 2? It'd be lovely for us to do it together and move into the next class together. And I was just like, that's so lovely. Like they're so nice. So I signed up for level 2, even though I've not even passed level 1 yet. So I'm straight in there, and I feel like, why stop? Like I'm enjoying it, I'm learning, I'm just going to keep going till they bloody kick me out and tell me I can't kind of do it anymore. So yeah, I've got a few weeks break, so my last class is on Tuesday, and I'm actually a wee bit sad about it. I'm like, oh, I've got a couple of weeks off, like what am I going to do with that Tuesday, Thursday now? But that's the thing, is like, you just fill time in with nonsense. We really do. And I know we're all busy and we've got a lot going on. But life is so short, and it's just like, just make some time for yourself to have some fun and to do something fun. But yeah, I did meet my friends last night, and one of them's lived here for years, and like I said, his partner's Portuguese, and he's like, why? Like he's like, you don't need it. You don't need to learn the language. But for me, it's like I said, it is that fun thing, and I'm enjoying it. But I also think it's just really good to use your brain in different ways. And I think that's just, again, something that we just get stuck in the same job. We get stuck looking after kids, or we get stuck in a relationship and we're just watching Netflix, we're watching telly, we're on our Instagram, we're on our phone, we're scrolling. There's reels, there's TikToks, everything's short. That we're not really using our brain like we did as kids. And I just think, like, for a longevity and for a better quality of life. Remember, you used to get the brain quizzes. I don't know if it was like on the Wii or if it was on your phone. I can't really remember. But it was like you had to pick the colours, and you had to solve the maths. It was like a wee game. What was that even on? I can't even remember. If you guys remember, let me know. But yeah, it's just like all this brain stuff that we used to do, like with technology ages ago. We don't really seem to do any of that now. And I just was saying to him, I was like, I genuinely enjoy it, and I've met really nice people. It's a highlight of my week, and I'm using my brain to learn something. And if I don't need it, I know everyone over here speaks Portuguese, but I would like to speaks English. But I would love to just be able to kind of make an effort. And I do think it's important, and not just to kind of expect everybody to speak English back to me. And everybody's different. Everybody values different things, and that might not be his thing. In terms of the fun thing he wants to do, it might be something completely different. But that's why I'm kind of doing it for me. So yeah, I just wanted to share this because, like I said, I just think we get older, we get busy, being busy, and we lose the track of having fun and learning new things and doing things just for the shits of it and for the giggles of it. And rather than it having to be that you need to be the best at something, sometimes it's nice to be like the worst in the class, because that's actually going to make you so much better. When everybody is so much better than you and you're like at the lower level, you're going to push so much harder than being the best in the room. So yeah, I just really wanted to share this because I feel like we're going into this second part of the year, and you've maybe spent the first 6 months of this year being like, right, okay, I want to do all these hobbies and climb these Monroes and try these things, and you've maybe not done it. And I always feel like when it's a new term and a new time of the year, like the schools are just getting back, it's almost like a mini new year. And it's just using like this month or the first month, the first Monday in September to like, right, we've got September, October, November, December. Like, what do we actually really want to do? Like, let's not wait for next year to start it because you feel like this year's wasted. Like, that's crap. Like, if you took away New Year, you've just got all this time in the world, whether you're going to do it or not. And like I said, I cannot believe that that's me done 50 hours of that course. It has went past in a flash, and I had good days, I had bad days. There's days that I've learned, there's days that I've not learned, but I've still moved forward and I've still done the best I could rather than me not doing anything at all. So I think it's really good to just really take a bit of time and review where you're at this year and where you want to really kind of finish this year, because wherever you finish this year is what you're going to continue on into the next year. And you could get so far ahead right now as well. So I just felt like it was really important to share that, because I could have easily have just went, nah, I'll do it later in the year. And you know what? I'm just going to be as busy the next couple of months anyway. So there was never going to be the perfect time. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I'd love to hear any takeaways or any courses or anything you're doing. I love stuff like that. Get in touch, and I cannot wait to hear from you. And I hope you all have an awesome week.